Warren Buffett once said, "The best investment you can make is in yourself. The earlier you start, the better." He wasn't exaggerating. He was revealing one of the simplest, yet most powerful secrets of wealth. Most people underestimate the force of compounding. It's not just about money growing. It's about money growing on top of growth. Start at 20 instead of 30, and the difference isn't 10 years. It's millions. That's the magic of time, the most loyal partner in wealth creation. Buffett bought his first stock at just 11 years old, and while that may sound extreme, the principle behind it isn't. Start where you are with what you have. Wealth doesn't come from perfect timing, it comes from time in the market. But he also warns, if you don't invest in yourself first, you'll never be able to invest wisely in anything else. That means reading daily, learning skills that make you valuable, and building habits that pay dividends for decades. When you're young, every hour spent improving your mind compounds, just like money does. You don't need to be rich to start investing. You need to start before you're ready. So if you're watching this wondering when to begin, Buffett's answer is simple: yesterday. But since you can't change that, the second best time is now. Because once time becomes your ally, wealth becomes inevitable. And speaking of allies, there's another hidden key to Buffett's success that most young people overlook. It's not found in books or bank accounts. It's found in people. Up next, why your circle determines your financial ceiling. Warren Buffett built his fortune on numbers, but his wisdom on people is what truly made him wealthy. He often said, "You will move in the direction of the people you associate with." That simple sentence explains why some people rise while others remain stuck. Your environment quietly shapes your habits, your mindset, and eventually your bank balance. Buffett's advice to young people is brutally clear. Choose your heroes carefully. Spend time with people who are better than you, kinder than you, smarter than you. Their habits will rub off, just as mediocrity will if you stay around the wrong crowd. He famously credits much of his success to surrounding himself with people like Charlie Munger, people who challenge his thinking, not flatter it. When your circle values growth, you can't help but grow too. The truth is, the easiest way to sabotage your future is to let negative, lazy, or short-sighted people shape your daily environment. You can't think big if you're surrounded by small minds. So, take a look around. Who inspires you to aim higher? Who drains your ambition? Buffett reminds us that your network is more than a group of contacts. It's the mirror reflecting your destiny. And once you've chosen the right people to walk with, the next step is choosing the right path. Warren Buffett has repeated this advice for decades. Take the job you would take if you were independently wealthy. It sounds idealistic, but it's actually one of the most practical wealth principles you'll ever hear. When you're young, it's tempting to chase high salaries or flashy titles. But Buffett warns that doing work you hate just for money is the fastest way to lose both your happiness and your potential. The real jackpot in life is waking up excited to do something that matters to you. Because passion creates persistence, and persistence compounds. Buffett himself turned his childhood fascination with numbers and business into a lifelong career in investing. He didn't choose it for fame or fortune. He chose it because he loved understanding how companies worked. That passion gave him an edge. He was willing to spend hours reading, analyzing, and learning when others lost interest. When you choose work that feels meaningful, success stops feeling like a grind. You start to care about improvement, and that care makes you exceptional. Buffett often says the secret is to tap dance, to feel so engaged that it doesn't even feel like work. Of course, passion alone isn't enough. You need discipline, patience, and the ability to manage what you earn. Which brings us to Buffett's next golden rule. Live below your means, no matter how much you make. Because how you handle money matters even more than how much you earn. Despite being worth over $100 billion, he still enjoys simple meals, drives himself around, and avoids luxury for luxury's sake. Why? Because he understands one thing most people never learn. Wealth isn't measured by what you spend, but by what you keep. His advice to young people is straightforward. If you buy things you don't need, you'll soon sell things you do need. It's not about being cheap, it's about being free. Every dollar you waste on impressing others is a dollar that could have been working for your future. Buffett warns especially against debt, particularly borrowing to invest or maintain a lifestyle you can't afford. He once said, "If you're smart, you don't need to borrow money, and if you're not smart, you shouldn't." Debt is the enemy of freedom because it reverses the power of compounding. It compounds against you. "Do not save what is left after spending," he said. "Spend what is left after saving." That small shift in mindset changes everything. Living below your means isn't about deprivation. It's about control. It gives you options to take risks, start businesses, or invest when others can't. Buffett's wealth wasn't built overnight. It was built on years of self-discipline and smart financial habits. And that discipline leads to his next principle, one that defines his entire investment philosophy: know your limits. Up next, Buffett's secret to staying successful for decades: mastering your circle of competence. Warren Buffett's career rests on one simple rule that's easy to understand but hard to follow. Know your circle of competence and stay within it. This principle has saved him from countless mistakes. It's the reason he ignored tech stocks in the 90s and crypto hype decades later. Buffett knows that success doesn't come from knowing everything. It comes from knowing what you truly understand and avoiding what you don't. Most young investors fail not because they're stupid, but because they're overconfident. They jump into trends, chase buzzwords, and follow crowds without clarity. Buffett's advice: don't be seduced by complexity. Focus only on businesses, skills, and industries. If you can't, you shouldn't be there. He compares it to sports. You don't have to swing at every pitch. You just have to wait for the one that's perfect for you. The market will always tempt you with the next big thing, but you don't need 100 great opportunities. You just need one that fits your understanding. Your circle of competence grows as you learn. The more you read, observe, and practice, the wider it becomes. Buffett still reads 6 hours a day, not because he needs to, but because it sharpens his judgment and widens his edge. So before investing your time or money, ask, do I really understand this, or am I just guessing? Because in Buffett's world, guessing is gambling, and gambling is how the market takes your money quietly. And once you know your circle, Buffett's next rule will tell you how to make the most of it, through patience and time. Warren Buffett is the definition of a long-term thinker. He once said, if you aren't willing to own a stock for 10 years, don't even think about owning it for 10 minutes. That mindset is what separates investors from speculators. While most people chase quick profits, Buffett looks for businesses he'd be proud to own forever. He studies their value, management, and stability. And once he buys, he holds. Because time, not timing, creates the biggest fortunes. But Buffett reminds us that the stock market is designed to transfer money from the impatient to the patient. Those who stay calm when others panic end up owning the future. He also believes that long-term investing teaches discipline. It forces you to ignore noise and focus on fundamentals. In his world, short-term volatility is an opportunity, not a threat. Be fearful when others are greedy, he says, and greedy when others are fearful. And that principle applies beyond investing, to business, relationships, and life. The ability to wait for good things to grow separates the wealthy from the restless. If you've enjoyed these lessons so far, here's a quick reminder. Hit like and subscribe if this video is helping you think differently about money. Because up next, we're diving into one of Buffett's most controversial lessons: why you should never gamble on trends or speculation. Coming up, the real reason Buffett avoids hype and how it keeps him rich. Warren Buffett has watched countless people lose fortunes not because they were unlucky, but because they were impatient. He often says, the stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient. Speculation is the opposite of investing. It's guessing dressed up as confidence. Buffett has seen this movie play out over and over again. During the dot-com bubble, the crypto craze, and every next big thing that promises overnight wealth. His advice to young people is simple. If you don't understand it, don't touch it. You don't need to bet on hype to build wealth. In fact, Buffett made his billions by ignoring hype entirely. While others got rich quick and went broke faster, he got rich slowly. and stayed rich. Speculation is emotional. Investing is logical. The difference is discipline. Buffett never lets fear or excitement control his decisions. He studies businesses, not price charts. He buys value, not popularity. That's why he sleeps soundly even when the markets crash.
He warns that hype is seductive. It feeds greed, ego, and impatience. Every bubble bursts, and when it does, patience becomes priceless. Avoid speculation like a disease, and you'll already be ahead of most investors. Because while others chase noise, you'll be building wealth on silence, consistency, and reason. And that leads directly to Buffett's next rule, one that defines his entire career. Focus on discipline, not perfection. When asked about the secret to his success, Buffett didn't mention intelligence or luck. He said, "The difference between successful people and really successful people is that really successful people say no to almost everything." Discipline, not brilliance, is his true superpower.
Buffett's entire investment philosophy is built around one goal: don't lose money. He even has two famous rules. Rule number 1, never lose money. Rule number 2, never forget rule number 1. That doesn't mean he never makes mistakes. He's made plenty. But his discipline keeps him from making fatal ones. He avoids emotional decisions, resists the temptation to follow the crowd, and sticks to his principles even when they're unpopular. For young people, this kind of restraint is rare. The world rewards urgency, quick wins, viral success, instant results. Buffett's wisdom is the opposite. Slow is smooth, and smooth becomes fast. You win not by taking every opportunity, but by waiting for the right one. He reads, reflects, and acts decisively. That's the kind of calm that only discipline brings.
So while others are busy chasing shortcuts, Buffett builds foundations. While others rush to double their money, he works to never lose it. And once you've learned the art of discipline, there's one final principle that makes Buffett's strategy unstoppable: understanding the difference between price and value. Up next, the lesson that turned Buffett into a billionaire and could change how you see money forever. One of Warren Buffett's most quoted lines is, "Price is what you pay. Value is what you get." It sounds simple, but it's one of the deepest lessons in finance and in life. They see something cheap and think it's a bargain, or they see something expensive and assume it's valuable. Buffett looks past the surface. He studies the true worth of what he's buying, whether it's a stock, a company, or a decision. He doesn't care if the market disagrees with him today, because he knows the market is emotional. Prices swing wildly based on fear and greed, but in the long run, value always wins. This mindset is what turned Buffett from a small investor into a billionaire. He bought undervalued companies when everyone else ignored them. Businesses with strong fundamentals, loyal customers, and good management. He knew that when value is real, price eventually catches up. This principle applies far beyond investing. In life, value is the difference between chasing trends and building substance. It's why Buffett avoids luxury for status. He cares about usefulness, not appearance. He doesn't buy things to look rich. He buys things that make him rich. For young people, this is a mindset shift. Don't ask, how much does it cost? Ask, what's it worth in the long run? Because the richest decisions are the ones that keep paying dividends long after the price. And that brings us to Buffett's final lesson, the one that ties everything together and defines his entire philosophy on money, purpose, and life. Up next, the ultimate advice Warren Buffett gives to young people, and why wealth alone will never be enough. At the ends of all his talks, Warren Buffett always circles back to one truth: wealth means nothing without purpose. He reminds young people that money is a tool, not a goal. The true measure of success isn't your bank balance, it's how you use what you have to create a meaningful life. Buffett still lives simply because he's never been addicted to lifestyle, only to learning and giving. He's pledged to donate over 99% of his fortune, proving that fulfillment doesn't come from accumulation, but from contribution. You just need the right habits. Habits like patience, humility,
consistency, and gratitude. Those are the real compounding forces, not just for money, but for character. If you take one thing from Buffett's advice, let it be this: start early, live wisely, stay disciplined, and never lose sight of your values. Because wealth built without wisdom never lasts, but wealth built on purpose can impact generations. So, young dreamer, remember this: you don't have to be the next Warren Buffett. You just have to think like him. Long-term, clear-headed, and focused on value over vanity. If this video gave you new perspective, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear these lessons today. Because the greatest investment you'll ever make is in becoming the kind of person who deserves success.